old mature buck.
For myself, late season deer hunting in the snow and bitter cold ranks right up there with hunting the rut. I absolutely love it. Whether it's trying to get a late season buck within bow range or extending my range with a muzzleloader to put some extra meat in the freezer, every season I look forward to the deep freeze of December. This December, however, Aaron, Ted, Nick, and I started off down south in Arkansas, dodging thunderstorms, hunting in ankle-deep water, having a heartbreaking encounter with an awesome buck, and eventually filling a tag with a close-range shot on a doe that hung around the decoy a little too long.
She's going down.
But by mid-December, I headed back home to South Dakota and was greeted with the snow and cold temperatures that I'd been hoping for. After several days of editing the Arkansas episodes, I finally had time to get in the field, so I grabbed my bow and headed back to the same area where I'd shot a buck on November 9th, hoping to get a shot at one of the many does that I saw and passed up in this spot back in November. With only one day to hunt before I hit the road again, I was thankful for the snow to help spell out exactly where the deer had been moving and feeding since I had been gone for the last 5 weeks.
Wind is blowing probably 20-25 miles an hour this afternoon. So my plan for this evening is to walk this field edge, this hay field, and just look for tracks and just follow them back up in the hills and find a spot to set up and just hope that they're doing the same thing this evening as they come down. So anyways, with the season winding down, I'm just excited to get out here with the bow in my hand again and to be hunting in the snow and cold weather. Love it. I've probably cut 8 or 10 different sets of deer tracks coming out of this, off of this hillside roughly right here. So I'm just gonna work my way back up in there and hopefully find an area where maybe it's bottlenecked down where the majority of the deer are coming through. There we go. You can see now all those tracks, all those different trails that I'd found down below have been concentrated, pretty much concentrated to this one trail right here, leading back up on top. All right, set up and ready to go. I'm happy with how this turned out. Just the way it sets up, I'm actually standing on a couple of limbs. There's really no good way to get the platform on here, but these limbs are easy to stand on. Shoot there, shoot there. That trail goes back up the hill, and there's actually, I can see where the landowner cut a tree down, so there's a bunch of pine branches right there, and it looks like those deer have been congregating around those branches and feeding on those pine needles, which I've seen here in the past. There's the main trail, goes on the left side of the tree, so just catching all this movement coming down out of the hills here. Going down below, there's actually a deer running right there. And nope. I better get ready here. Deer are starting to move already. I can see one right there. Had a few deer starting to filter this way, another fawn up on the hill, then this doe and fawn and bedded down here. Just trying to conserve that body heat, stay out of the wind as much as possible. It's starting to clear off in the west a little bit. I mean, good grief. What a view up here. This is incredible. Just see the world up here. This is awesome. Oh, that's a nice buck right there. Wow. Real nice buck. It's always good to see bucks that made it through most of the season. They hope will be around next year. Thought maybe those does and fawns were gonna come right down the pipe here, but they went by at about 50, 52 yards. I think is what I ranged the adult doe at. Too far, especially in this wind. But got a good look at a couple really nice bucks tonight, and that one right there looks, man, a lot like that one I missed a couple years ago. But either way, fun hunt tonight. Man. That's probably why there's no deer down on the field right now. I can see most of this field and I don't see a single deer down there. With these winds, it's just brutal. It seems like they're staying up in the timber here, just kind of browsing around on the, what little grass or natural vegetation there is up here. Anyways, time to pack up and head out. Mindy and I are heading up to North Dakota to visit her family just before Christmas. And I'm gonna definitely get out and do some pheasant hunting there. And I don't know if I'm gonna do any deer hunting or not, but it is supposed to be brutally cold up there.
A couple of days later, Mindy and I left for North Dakota for Christmas as a once-in-a-generation winter storm descended upon the Midwest, and the impact of the snow and brutally cold temperatures was apparent as we traveled across the plains. My plan was to put in a few solid days of hunting upland birds while we were there. However, with negative 40-degree wind chills and the fact that the snow had filled in virtually all of the available cover, I quickly realized this hunt wasn't going to turn out like I hoped it would.
Well, there we are. My North Dakota pheasant hunt is brutal out here. About negative 45 wind chills.
I was able to knock down one partridge, but after that, I put the gun away and just left the birds alone as they did their best to find food and cover and survive the harsh conditions. But after the storm passed and the roads cleared up, Mindy and I headed back home to South Dakota, where it had warmed up into the 50s with 60-degree weather on the way that unfortunately melted all the snow. So with mild conditions and only a couple of days left to hunt, I decided to put my bow away and got an antlerless muzzleloader tag to help improve my odds of getting one last deer for the freezer. And in South Dakota, you can't use telescopic sights on a muzzleloader, so I had to take my scope off, made sure that the iron sights were still sighted in, and headed to the field for a midday still hunt through the timber.
Oops, something caught his attention. A mouse or a vole or something. Doing a little hunting as well.
Well, it is noon right now, December 30th. Shot the muzzleloader this morning. But like I said, it's midday right now, waited for the day winds to kick up. And my mission for today is to go in and pull the trail cameras that I have on this property. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna still hunt my way through the property and see if I can find a doe to get a crack at. All right, so I'm heading in to the corner of the property right now. The wind is out of the, the west-southwest, which is blowing back this way. But trail camera there, and another one farther north. So I'm just gonna get into the back side of the property, quarter into the wind, still hunt my way, pick up trail cameras, maybe look for some sheds. Already starting to see bucks that have dropped their antlers. See if I can get a crack at a doe here. Just about to the back corner. Once I get up to the top there, I'm gonna really slow down and start working into the wind. Right now the wind is still on my back though. All right, just made it to the back corner of the property here. Got some pretty good wind cover. I wish it was a little bit breezier, but it's not bad. Sun shining overhead, got a lot of shade to work with as well. So I'm just gonna work my way along the top, and then there's a big saddle in the terrain. I'll cut down through that saddle, and then there's more cover there, and then I'll just work my way back to the truck. Made it up to the top of this ridge, and so far haven't seen anything. Haven't really seen much sign either. But that tree over there, where I shot the buck back in 2021, rattled him in. He came up making rubs and scrapes and
Gave me a 12-yard shot. Awesome hunt. Loop around the backside of this rock knob right here. Then I'll be able to see down into a lot more timber. Rub up there. Looks like bed, a couple of beds right here, a bunch of droppings. Smaller rubs, yeah, some of these are probably whitetail rubs, but there's definitely some elk rubs here too. Cool little spot, just down off of the ridge. There's a beaten trail. Coming down through here, there's a big saddle in the terrain right here. There's another high ridge over there, high ridge up there. This is that saddle. There's a deer right there. Yep. Not sure what it is. I can't see its head, but looks like an adult deer. Yeah, it's an adult doe. Here we go. Just spotted a doe. So I've got a lot of cover between me and it. It's just kind of over that little rise right there. I could just see its back as it was moving to the left. I'm gonna move in closer. Here we go. Yeah, you can just see its back. The top of its back. Slip in a little bit closer here. Get to a spot where I can get a clear shot.
Got a doe down. Heck yeah. Oh, thankfully she stayed put. But anyways, there was actually a bunch of deer in here. There was at least 3 or 4 does and fawns in here. I mean, I saw her probably 50 yards back up the hill, snuck down, belly crawled across the open here, got down low, got up to this tree, and then I had a little bit better visibility on that one I could see right there. But then all of a sudden, there was this other doe coming at me through this little line of trees right here. And I lost her in the camera, but then I could see her through the V, and she in turn saw me. I don't think she could see much of me, but she probably caught movement. So I got on her with the camera, and then I had to, slowly shift my way over here and grab the gun. And this was actually perfect. I was able to rest the gun right there. Perfect 25-yard shot, quartering pretty hard, but with a muzzle loader, that's a deadly shot. Kind of at the base of the neck, right between the shoulder blades, then it just crumpled her. Man, that's awesome. That was fun. Doe hunts aren't the most exciting thing to watch, but that was a lot of fun. Still hunting and then kind of a spot and stalk at the end. But anyways, go take a look at her. Here we go. Yeah, looks like a 1.5 year old. She's not a fawn, but I'll be able to cut her cheek open and look at her teeth, and I'll be able to tell if it's a 1.5 year old. It's on the 3rd premolar of a 1.5 year old deer, although granted, this is later in the year. They may have replaced what is called a tricusp tooth. So that's an easy way to tell a 1.5 year old deer, is it'll have that tricusp, although this time of the year, they'll start replacing that with a bicusp tooth, but that tooth will look newer, I guess, or less stained than the other teeth. But as you can see, that shot is pretty much perfect. Kind of right at the base of the neck, between the shoulders. And I'm assuming it exited, yep, exited right about here on the other side. So, I mean, it got everything. So like I said, all along, this has just been a lot of fun. Changing it up, doing something different, trading in the bow for the muzzleloader. And instead of, being up in a tree like I usually am in the saddle with typically self-filming with all the gear that goes along with it, it's kind of nice to come out today and just, have a chest pack, a little fanny pack, and gun and the cameras, and just having fun, still hunting through the timber. And it was pretty much perfect. The day winds picked up to about 12 to 15 miles an hour, and I was able to move through this terrain pretty much dead silent. On these pine needles and in this grass, you can stay really, really quiet, especially with that wind coming through the pines. You get that little bit of that whisper through the pines and that noise cover. So it's nice to be able to change things up here and do something a little bit different and kind of get back to my roots of spot and stalk and still hunting like I did when I was growing up on my grandparents' farm, hunting rabbits and squirrels and starlings and sparrows and stuff like that. Just spent a lot of time sneaking around. And when I was doing deer research and darting deer to put radio collars on them, during the summer, about the most effective tactic I found was to just spot and stalk or still hunt, a lot of times around cornfields and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun. It's just something I don't do a lot of. But when I'm bow hunting and self-filming, being in a setup, whether it be in a tree or on the ground, in a fixed position, is the easiest way to, for me at least, to have success and get good footage. But with a gun, it makes it a little bit easier to do still hunting and spot and stalk like I did today. Got her tagged, field dressed. And a long drag out. All of 30 yards. This is the end of the deer tour for me, but we've got some more videos coming up for you and a lot of fun off-season stuff too. So that's it for now. Thank you guys, we appreciate you. See you on the next one.